Alright guys, so E3 2009 is over, and I figured I'd make this video to give you my thoughts and opinions on what went down, talk about all the big game reveals, the exclusives on the systems, and just give my overall impressions on the show this year. Now, I just want to start off by saying that I have not watched anybody else's opinions or reaction videos on YouTube. Really, the only place I've watched videos so far about E3 in general is just on game trailers and the live coverage from G4 G4 TV. So I didn't want to watch anybody's videos because I didn't want any opinions to persuade my own, so I'm going into this with a, a fresh outtake on it, I guess you can say. So I was trying to decide how I wanted to do this video. Did I want to do it more like a critique video where I kind of analyze each press conference and, kind of pick and nag like, oh, Nintendo, or they showed more charts and graphs and they showed more trailers and gameplay footage. I'm not really going to get into that. I'm just going to talk about the games because in my opinion that's what matters most. So I do have a list prepared here because it's a lot to remember. So I'll refer to this and talk about my opinions on some of the games that they showed off. Now, at first I'm going to keep it, exclusives per company. So when I talk about Microsoft, it's just going to be about the exclusive games. When I get to Nintendo and Sony, same thing. And then later on I'll talk about the multi-platform games. Alright, so starting with Microsoft, I'm going to skip ahead to their biggest reveal, if not one of the biggest reveals of E3 itself, and that's something I'm sure you're all familiar with already and probably tired of hearing. That's Project Natal. Now, Project Natal is something that people are probably going to have two totally separate opinions on. There's going to be the people that are going to totally dismiss it. They're not going to care about it when it's released. They're just going to put it off as, Microsoft copying Nintendo Wii with the motion sensing and everything like that. But then there's going to be the people that kind of look to the future and say, hey, this could be a step forward. This could be the future of gaming here if they can pull this off. Especially with Milo, but I'll get into that in a second. Project Natal itself is basically, yes, Microsoft's long-rumored motion control sensing device. And I have to admit, what they showed at E3 was pretty impressive. The real question on my mind, though, is it really going to be able to be pulled off like 100%? Can anybody take this thing, put it in their home, despite what's behind them, the lighting, and, do everything that they were showing? Can everybody scan in objects 100%, without problems? Can I take, a game here and scan it in without any kind of like, oh, we can't recognize the object or anything like that? Is it really going to be fun to play a racing game like this? Just moving your hands. It's stuff that really we have to wait to see what they do. I think if they could pull off full-fledged games in 3D worlds with motion controls that require no controls, think of playing an RPG, a first person. Think of first person Oblivion or Fallout, where you just go like this to aim and everything, and you're moving in a 3D world. But how are they gonna handle movement? Besides being on a static screen, like their tech demo with the dodgeball. The girls up there doing all exaggerated movements. It looked like it was pretty intuitive and it could be fun. But, what happens when you go beyond just the simple static screen minigames and you go more into 3D game worlds? I think if they could pull that off, though, Project Natal is going to have a lot of promise, and I can definitely see it, shaping up to be something that Microsoft can pull off and put together, really the future of gaming almost. And the second thing that they showed off that was really impressive from it was Milo. And this is a side project where Peter Molyneux is basically, he's crafted an artificial intelligence young boy where he can basically supposedly sense your feelings and everything. If you sound sad, he'll be like, well, what's wrong? Oh, what's the matter? It's basically a virtual kid in your television that can react to you. They showed that video and they were like, oh, this is not scripted or anything like that, and I found it a little bit hard to believe, especially where the girl takes the piece of paper, gives it to the kid, and he takes it through the screen. Like, it seemed a little bit scripted. It did seem scripted. It didn't seem 100% like, oh, throw her into this room with this virtual kid and none of it's going to be, none of this is pre-scripted. I didn't really believe that, but what they showed off, I have to admit, it looked pretty insane. Like, I'm serious, if I can bring that Milo thing into my house here and actually interact with it like that girl was doing in that video, honestly, that I think will be the biggest step forward for video games beyond Project Natal. What they showed there just in that little tech video, in my opinion, blows away the Wii. Honestly, like, that is a level of interactivity that Nintendo is never going to achieve. But the problem with that is it's something that's not as user-friendly. Are people really going to, the Wii is such a mainstream thing now. Can Microsoft really catch up with something that's so technologically advanced? It's really yet to be seen, but really I was very impressed with Milo and Project Natal, and I think in the years to come, it's probably not going to be for a while. They need to launch this thing nowhere. They can't charge more than $150. Price range between 100 and 150 would be good, but if Microsoft can pull this off somehow, and maybe incorporate it into the next Xbox, because I don't think it's going to be coming out anytime soon. We're most likely not going to see Project Natal until late 2010 if we're lucky, into 2011 most likely. Alright, so I got my list here, and I just want to mention some of the exclusives that Microsoft's going to be coming out with in this year and next year. One big surprise for me that really I honestly should have seen coming but didn't expect to see it was the trailer for Left 4 Dead 2. I guess it's just me, but it felt like just yesterday that Left 4 Dead came out, and seeing Left 4 Dead 2 so early on was a bit of a surprise to me. And I checked out some of the gameplay on it, and really it does look like exactly more of the same, which isn't a bad thing, because Left 4 Dead was one of my nominees for 2008 Game of the Year, and I wouldn't mind having a sequel. Crackdown 2, something else that kind of didn't surprise me as much as it should have, because it's been rumored for a really long time now, but I'm really looking forward to it. I was a huge fan of Crackdown 1, and the second seems like it's taking a pretty big turn where there's like new mutant monsters or something. I don't know. But if they can put in some 4-player online co-op, that would be awesome. Something that we've all known about, Halo ODST, what they did show off was, it looked like it's going to appeal to Halo fans. I'm not like, oh my god, Halo ODST, because I'm not a huge Halo fan. But I admit it did look pretty fun. And then they revealed Halo Reach, which was just a simple trailer, no gameplay or anything. But one thing they did, which was very smart, is that they're going to bundle in betas, or access to the beta for Halo Reach, with people that buy Halo ODST. So now Halo ODST is going to sell like crazy just because of that. Alan Wake, also, we finally got to see what the heck that game is about, and it looks really good. I love the way that the environments were coming to life, the trees were moving. It seemed really creepy, and genuinely, with all these survival horror games coming out now, this one looks like it really could bring something new to the genre. Alright, so next up is Nintendo, who at first I thought was going to have a really weak showing like they did last year, because, they started showing off some really casual stuff, and it was kind of boring, but they started off their rebound when they mentioned New Super Mario Bros. Wii, which they were at first hyping up. They were like, this is the evolution of Mario, this is Mario in 4D, it's what Miyamoto always wanted for the Mario series. And then they showed New Super Mario Bros. And at first I was like, oh man, this is the new Mario game. I thought it was going to be a new 3D adventure. It looks like a port of the DS game. But as it turns out, it's a whole new 2D side-scrolling game. And I was happier when they finally showed off Super Mario Galaxy 2, because I was like, yes, we get a new 3D Mario again on the same console, and we're going to get that along with New Super Mario Bros. Wii. What really surprised me, though, was a sequel to Mario Galaxy. I expected like a new universe or something. I never really expected them to come out with a direct sequel to Mario Galaxy. It was a pretty big surprise, and it looks like, yes, it's going to be more of the same. There's absolutely no reason why they couldn't get the game out this year. They have the engine all done for them already, All they had to do is just construct new levels. I'm sure they would make in this game the second that they finish Mario Galaxy 1. But they're saving that for next year. They figure that New Super Mario Bros. Is enough for this year. And then, of course, another bombshell. They reveal a new Metroid game, Metroid Other M, which they're teaming up with Team Ninja. So it's going to be like a new hardcore take on a Metroid game. And it seems like it's finally going to be going back to third person fused with some first person elements, which looked really cool. Other games that they showed off Red Steel 2, which in my opinion looks like it could be a lot of fun. They're taking a new cel-shaded graphical approach. Golden Sun DS was a huge surprise. I thought for a second that they were gonna announce Earthbound when they started mentioning RPG series that's been gone for a while. But Golden Sun DS is awesome. Never expected that. Zelda Spirit Tracks, they just mentioned it. And honestly, the game does not interest me whatsoever. I watched a gameplay video of Link driving a train. I didn't have any interest in it whatsoever. Other games that look like they have a lot of promise. A Boy and His Blob. Check out some gameplay videos on that. It looks like a really good platformer. The Conduit coming out soon. It's going to be an online shooter with voice support. I'm really looking forward to that. And Dead Space Extinction, to me, looks like it's going to have a lot of promise. You know, it's going to be an on-rail shooter with a lot of story woven into it, so that's something else that I'm really looking forward to. One thing that was a little bit disappointing to me, though, was that they didn't really push the DSi as much as I thought they should have. You know, here they are, they just launched their new updated handheld console with the whole DSiWare in it. And while they did mention it, you know, they mentioned the WarioWare game, the Mario versus Donkey Kong game, but I thought they should have brought something more to it, you know, be like, hey, listen, we have a lineup of downloadable Game Boy Advance games coming out, or just showing off a little bit more than what they did. You know, it was just a little bit disappointing here. There's millions of people that just bought this new device for, most likely, specifically, the SD card slot and the camera capabilities of the games and, you know, the online functionality that could come from downloadable games with the DSi, and they really didn't show too much off, so I was pretty disappointed in their showing with that.